Hey everybody, today we're going to be going over some foods from entertainment mediums, including movies, games, and animes. Today's menu is going to be from Monsters Inc. actually, the movie and the menu that you could find in Disneyland. Now this particular menu at Disneyland only shows one section of it, the sushi a la carte, which means you could buy these sushi rolls as individual items, individual platters. Now I know the menu is a lot bigger than this because if you look at the movie clip, you can see that he's actually making a lot of different items on here that have nothing to do with this here a la carte menu, which either A, tells me that this a la carte menu is not very fond, B, he obviously included this later on at some point, or C, maybe some secret menu, which I think C doesn't make any sense. I think it could just be the fact that since these are a la carte, they probably just don't sell as much. And I'm sure they're in there somewhere in the restaurant, but maybe there's other items that are more popular. But whatever, who cares? Let's start with this first item here, the spider roll. Hairy spiders in a used seaweed wrapper. Now, I think, in my opinion, this is probably one of the easier items to eat off this menu, that and maybe the howling hamachi. But here's the reason being. Spiders are actually very popular and widely known to be delicious in a lot of different ways. I've seen plenty of flavors. I know that Cambodia has some really good looking spider dishes. I know Thailand has some spider dishes. And of course we have this here barbecue flavored zebra tarantula, which I'm sure everyone has seen at some point. It's all over YouTube. And everyone says the same things. It's crispy and it has a flavor of chicken and cod mixed together on the inside with the white meat. A lot of people would assume it's juicy, right? Like gooey or whatever you'd imagine bugs to be like. But did we all not remember this is arachnid here, ain't no insect. So yeah, it does have some white meat on the inside that apparently tastes like chicken and cod. Now let's take this hairy spider and let's assume at the very least it's not even this here barbecue flavored zebra tarantula you find inside the can. Let's just say that they fried it. It still doesn't look that bad. I mean, I've seen people eat these. They fry up, they bend up, and they probably take that, they probably cut off the legs, right? You know, if we're making sushi, you can only imagine it's going to be a nice sized shape and cut very finely because sushi is such a delicate process inside of a used seaweed wrapper. Well, that also doesn't sound that bad because seaweed is what we use to wrap in sushi, and seaweed has that incredible umami flavors from the MSG and the salt. So if you wrap a spider in seaweed, it's safe to say that the spider roll here is the closest thing to a tamaki roll or a hand-rolled sushi roll, which is just like a cone-shaped seaweed with the protein inside of it. This protein could potentially be like crab salad, where they make a spider salad out of it and just stuff it, or they could just cut it long ways the same way you'd see it with like the cucumbers and the salmon and so forth. So is it on my list? I'm definitely ordering this a la carte and giving it a try because two of those bad boys will probably fill you up pretty quick. And if you really think about it, this is all going to be stuffed with some really delicious sushi rice, and you're going to be given some type of dip sauce, whether it be like some like super fermented soy sauce or maybe some fish sauce or something like that. Probably tasty, probably really tasty. Next thing on our list is the carry-on katsu. Ooh, that sounds pretty damn good because katsu is going to be a crispy protein, and carry-on is, very simply put, decaying flesh, which sounds delicious. But in all honesty, no, it doesn't. But deep frying protein in a powder and all that, I mean, you're looking at no less than some chicken nuggets, right? No less. Chicken nuggets are like the worst case scenario. But I'm imagining, based off the way that this restaurant looks, it's very high end, they're very delicate with their process. The katsu is probably perfect. Ooh, panko breadcrumbs. Oh man, that sounds bomby. Let's see, with crispy fried carry-on with some radishes. Okay, so you get the radishes to balance out the stench of the carry-on, I guess. Ooh, dip that in some tonkatsu sauce. Sheesh, that sounds fire, bro. I mean, think about it. Radishes kind of have a slight bit of spice to it. I'm actually personally like slightly allergic to radish, so my mouth gets all fuzzy. But if it comes to carry-on katsu, count me in, man. I'll take that EpiPen because the spiciness and the crispiness of the radish, I think, blended with the crispiness of the panko bread crumbs on the decaying flesh, on top of some rice, maybe some tonkatsu sauce on the side. I can see that actually blending very well. Even if obviously this menu is fake, but the person who came up with this has a concept of how food works. Okay, now this one is funny. It's the slimy sashimi. Okay, slimy sashimi. Okay, I can't say this right. Maybe it's slimy sashimi. Okay, so sashimi is literally just like the piece of raw protein, usually on top of maybe something like daikons, or like a side of daikons and rice or something. But usually it's like literally just that piece of protein, and it's a very good cut, really fresh, super tasty. Some soy sauce really wraps that up into a little bit in your mouth. Slime crusted chunk of melodorous mackerel. So mackerel is a fish we all know is really good. It's similar to tuna, I guess. Melodorous is an odor. It's a really nasty smelling odor. But here's what I did in my research. In Sweden, there is an actual dish called surströmming, which is a sour herring. So in this case, this is a sour mackerel if you really think about it, because the surströmming is fermented fish, which it says that the odor is so pungent that it is banned from many Swedish apartment blocks. But they eat this shit, so it must be good. So if you look at this and you order yourself a side of the slimy sashimi, you're probably getting a really nice sauce on top of it says slime crusted. So I can't tell if this is like another deep fried dish or not. Now in my mind, I'm thinking some mayonnaise, some unagi, and then on top of the melodorous mackerel, this could be a baked sashimi for all we know. Some Lion King ass roll. Ooh, now I'm really hyping this up and it sounds pretty damn good. So far we're 3 for 3. Howling Hamachi. This one's actually, I think, at first look of this menu, without doing more research, I think this was the roll I'd probably order. First of all, yellowtail is a very common fish in sushi, so it's nothing too out of the ordinary yet. Lima beans, sure, don't really go with sushi, but we all know the flavor of lima beans. And burned spinach. I've made spinach plenty of times in my life, and I gotta tell you, accidentally burning your spinach a little bit in a pan is not that bad. Sure, it gives you kind of like that burnt smell, but the flavor's still there. So putting all this together on top of some sushi rice and a little seaweed wrap, honestly, I would argue this is probably the most normal thing on the menu. No reason to argue that. In fact, if you were vegan, you could even use lima bean to make some type of protein out of. In this example here, this looks like not only is it lima bean paste as in a substitute for a protein, but it's a cucumber with lima bean in the middle and sprinkled with, what is that? Cannellini beans? Oh, baby lima beans. Perfect. So this is a sushi roll with lima beans. Now they're using lima beans in substitute to a protein, so this is a perfect vegan sushi roll. And looks pretty damn bomb, as you see here. So I'm putting a 10 out of 10 on this Howling Hamachi. Probably the best thing on the menu. Caterpillar roll. Ripe caterpillars rolled in a fermented bean curd. That bean curd probably is using lima beans. Since they are a small restaurant, they probably try to reuse they probably try to take an ingredient and use it as many ways as possible, I think is the best way to put it, because they're so enhanced. So the bean curd, I'm assuming, is a blend of the lima beans, maybe the ones that weren't used fast enough or something like that, and fermented over time. Now, I personally don't know exactly how to ferment things. I know you need some type of starter like salt or whey, and I think you just leave a type of item like vegetables or whatever in a water and then just let it sit in like a cool space over time. But fermenting beans is a thing. I don't know how popular it is, but it is a thing. Now the caterpillar part of it, I know parts of Africa, I think Southern Africa, they eat, I could just be making this up. Anyways, I saw it on YouTube one time. one of the YouTubers I watched, she was eating this worm, teaching us how to prepare this caterpillar. I believe it was from South Africa. Anyways, that is obviously not worldly known. It is something people do. So taking these caterpillars, rolling them up in the bean curd, which is probably delicious from the howling hamachi, on top of some sushi and the nori or the seaweed wrap. A plus with some soy sauce. In fact, scratch the soy sauce. I'm gonna ask for a side of the tonkatsu sauce for the karyankatsu and just dip it in that, because I actually love sweet sauces. Man, I'm getting pretty hungry. I might have to make me some of these myself. Now, as far as the restaurant goes, there are some items that you see in some of the pictures while they're scrolling through. There's some like bigger dishes, some just plain old eyeballs, which I'm assuming is an eyeball sashimi or something like that. They don't look like they were developed for us to kind of break down. I think they were just there for show. But this here Disneyland menu really does go into detail about some of the foods on the menu, and I was really happy about finding this, taking a photo, going home and looking at it. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for enjoying this video and following me through this here sushi a la carte menu. Go ahead and like the video for more. Leave a comment of more things you want to see, whether they're anime reactions or maybe you have a recommendation for foods I can review. And then subscribe so you can see more videos as they come out. Anyways, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next review.